What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're looking at revenge stories. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really does help this channel out. Liking helps, watch time really helps, so the longer you watch the video, the more it tells people that you like it. And also, if you make it to the very end of the video, 2 more videos will pop up on your screen, and if you click one of them, it also tells YouTube, hey, I like this guy's content. And then it tells other people, it shares that too. So that's how you can help this channel out. Hint, hint, wink, wink. A huge thank you to the members of this channel. You are truly, truly appreciated. And today we're going to be starting with some petty revenge. Then we're going to be moving up to some pro-revenge and finishing off with some nuclear revenge. I hope you enjoy the format and let's get started. Much love, guys. Our first petty revenge story comes from Arcadian Wizard. Sniffing things. Years ago when I got married, my dad gave me my grandmother's wedding ring to give to my wife. At the reception, the ladies were admiring my wife's ring when my aunt, who's known to be a class AC, my dad's sister, saw my wife's wedding ring and became visibly upset. She grabbed her things quietly and left the reception. Of course, we all noticed. When I asked my dad about it later on, he told me the following story. Your aunt was a spoiled brat. She treated my parents terribly. She ostracized herself from the family because she wanted nothing to do with us, and anything that they could give her in regards to money and support. My parents were great people. Her problem was that years ago my mother refused to buy her a new car, even though my sister could afford it. My parents offered to buy her a used refurbished car, but my sister's argument was that there's nothing like the real thing. There was a big family argument where she cursed them out and she abandoned the family for around 10 years. Years later, as my mother started to become ill, my sister wouldn't even visit her once. Towards the end, where we knew she had little chance of living or going on, my sister suddenly showed up. One night while going to the bathroom, I heard a noise in my mum's bedroom, and there was my sister trying on my mum's rings. One of them was my mum's wedding band that she had always wanted. When I asked my mum later about it, she said that my sister had always wanted that ring, but my mother didn't want her to have it because she knew that deep down she was still a spoiled, nasty person, and she felt that ring was given to her out of love and should go to someone else out of love, and the only person she could think of was her grandson. She wanted that ring to go to her grandson's new wife when he got married down the road. My dad then proceeded to tell me that he borrowed the wedding ring and he took it to a jeweler friend of his. They were buddies since high school. He asked his friend if he could make an exact duplicate of that ring, but with a cubic zirconia, and fake stones that go with it. When my mother passed away, my dad went to her room and exchanged the ring for the real one. He said, "I knew that bitch would come sniffing." Sure enough, the same day that my grandmother died, my aunt made some excuse to come over to her house, saying that she left something there. My dad swung by later, and when he looked in the jewellery box, the ring was missing. Fine. On the day of the wedding, after my aunt saw my wife's new ring as she was walking back to her table, my dad whispered to her, "I hope you enjoyed your fake ring. There's nothing like the real thing, huh?" Spicy story. I like that your dad went for the effort to make a fake ring with his friend just for that purpose, but what a horrible person sneaking around when she knew someone was dying to take something of hers. Ah, man, I know death and stuff can do silly things to families, but I'm going to be facing something similar in the near future myself, and, you know, death can bring out ugly things with people, and I know there's no will involved, and I've already got like a family member who's been awkward about me leading things up. I'm sort of dealing with all the legal stuff at the moment, and yeah, and it kind of hurts that someone thinks that way about me, because I couldn't give a shit. I don't care about money, you know. I don't care about money. I just want to spend the remaining time I can with my father, which is, yeah. So in my opinion, always have a will and tell your family how you'd like it split, because otherwise it just causes arguments. It's ridiculous. Our next petty revenge story is Got 'em with glitter. Sent my neighbour a glitter bomb because he was a dickhead to me. I teach kids online, so naturally I have to be on the phone/video chatting with them. I'm working one day and my neighbour decides to start blasting music, and I instantly can't hear my student anymore. So I go outside to ask him to turn it down. He has the speaker on his front step just cranked all the way up. Here's how the exchange went. I said, excuse me, can you turn down your music? I'm on the phone with a student, your music is a little loud. Him, right off the bat. So I'm on the phone, I can't hear my student. So? I'm trying to do my job, I'm working. So can you please turn your music down? Yeah, I'm fucking doing it. Get back to your house. He was confrontational and angry from the second I started talking, and clearly had no intention of turning it down, so I just walked away, and as I'm walking away he was like, "You want to do it like that?" I'll fucking do it like that. I was just so baffled that this guy would be such an arsehole for literally no reason immediately. I'm trying to do my goddamn job, and he hurt my feelings, so fuck that guy. Mailed him a glitter bomb. I folded it up and glued the edges, so you have to pull it open and the glitter will explode everywhere. And here is a picture of the glitter bomb. I got nieces and nephews, right? And glitter is like the worst enemy. That stuff gets everywhere, in your carpets and everything. This is no petty revenge. This is almost nuclear. Wow. We're going to step it up a notch now, and we're moving on to pro-revenge. Our first pro-revenge story comes from Kevin L123. Made an arsehole redo an entire school year. During the final trimester of my last year in high school, we had to do a group project that needed to be finished by the end of the trimester, and was evaluated and graded in front of a jury of teachers, instead of an exam. I was paired with the biggest douchebag in class. Imagine a really entitled, arrogant arsehole. Every time we were supposed to work on the project, he would have some excuse to not show up and demand I work on it alone to make sure the project stayed on track. In the beginning, I tried to complain and talk to the teacher, but she would just say, "Make it work, it's your project." After a while, I stopped planning work meetings altogether. He would call me to ask me how the project was going, and I would say like, "Yeah, it's going well. I think it's almost finished." Or, "I'll send you the presentation to prepare for the jury." Little did he know, I had a trump card in my hand. The project counted for 40% of the final grade. Me, doing well in class, already got about 55 of the other 60%, so even if I got a 0 on the project, I would still pass the class. The arsehole had less. A lot less. After it became clear he was just going to use my work to pass the class and the teacher didn't care, I decided to throw out all the work for the project and keep the arsehole in the dark. That last bit went a lot easier than I expected, as he was happy with me telling him that everything was on track. In the last week before the jury presentation, things became harder. The arsehole wanted me to send the presentation, so he knew which part he had to present. I managed to stall a few days with excuses, but 2 days before the jury presentation, I finally sent him an email with a PowerPoint, which was actually an MP3 file with a changed file extension. The next day I switched on my phone. In the evening, I called him back with the excuse my phone had issues, and he was panicking that there was something wrong with the PowerPoint. I told him not to worry, I will check it out tonight, and have a working PowerPoint for tomorrow. I would come to school at 8 AM so he could practice his part for the presentation before the jury appointment at 9 AM. The next morning, I arrived at school a little before 9 AM, having switched off my phone again. When he saw me, he approached me with a mix of panic and anger, but before I could explain anything, we were called into the room with the jury for our presentation. I just told the arsehole not to worry and let me do the talking. We greeted the jury and I started the introduction. The original idea of today was for us to present our project XYZ, but since I already had enough points to pass the class and MR, arsehole over here couldn't be bothered to put in any effort. I decided to skip it and, instead, have a nice day off today. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for your attention. I just walked out on 4 confused teachers and one arsehole with a mouth open so wide, it looked like he was trying to eat a club sandwich vertically. Naturally, there was some backlash in the days after that. Teacher called for an explanation, but in the end recognised I was a good student, and indeed I already passed the class without the project. Arsehole was angry that he had to study over the summer for a re-exam. All in all, I was happy to have graduated and look forward to going to college the next year. After the summer, I heard from friends that arsehole failed his re-exam, and that combined with other bad grades, caused him to have to redo his last year. Karma is a bitch. Edits, I see some comments about the teacher, so I think I'm mispresenting her here. I didn't have the feeling she was a bad teacher, I think she just wanted to give us a chance to work out this problem ourselves. Experience is the best teacher after all. I'm also assuming she thought we worked something out after I stopped complaining when I had my plan. Edit 2, to resolve confusion about the grading system, this was in Belgium in my 6th and last year of middelbaar, where you're typically 17 to 18 years old. The school works with subjects, I misuse the word class for subject, like math, economics, English, etc. In this case, the subject was mechanics. Each subject needs to be passed with 50% or more for you to pass your year. If you get 45 to 50% on a lesser subject, but pass all the others with good grade, the teacher could allow you to pass the year anyway. The percentages were divided differently for each subject. Mechanics had 60% on tests throughout the year and 40% on the project. Maths probably had 50% on tests during the year and 50% on exams. Wow. I'm just trying to picture like you stood in front of these teachers and that arsehole stood next to you and you just saying that and just looking at their faces, just trying to imagine how nice that would be. And then just walking off having a nice day. I think I'll be too anxious afterwards though to enjoy the rest of my day because I'll be thinking, oh god, I'm in big trouble now. Our next story is from Fantasy Crochet. Cheat on me, I'll get your child support raised and your car repoed. First, the child support. So I was with my ex-husband for about 10 years. When I first met him, he knocked up his previous girlfriend before meeting me. Basically kind of ghosted her, now reflecting back on what happened. Convinced me it was her keeping him away from his kid, and that he was just a poor victim in all of it. She'd taken him to court, got child support for $324 a month for a while, then tried to take him back because she thought he was working and making more, but it backfired and it got reduced to $112 a month. It stayed like that for about 6 to 7 years, and he actually got behind a couple of times just paying this because he'd lose a job here or there. One of the many ways he convinced me to move out of my home state to his, there's more jobs in his home state and cost of living is cheaper. Come 2018, I decided to leave him because he wasn't putting in the effort to find a job that would support both of us while I went to nursing school. I've been working the same full-time federal government job and doing school part-time for our entire relationship, supporting us while he went to school for medical billing and coding and didn't do anything with it once he was done. His excuse, they're outsourcing these jobs to India. He bounced from one job to another for one reason or another. Once it came time for me to actually finally apply to a nursing program, I told him he needed to finally step up. He told me he would, but never said what he was doing. He would come home from work and complain about the work and the people he worked with. He was eventually fired from that job because his boss said he worked way too slow and he was delaying orders going out for the company. We also had a bit of a dead bedroom, so that also pushed me to want to leave him. I finally decided to leave, and the ex moved in, and an ex-roommate a couple of months later. She lived with us previously because she found out her first husband had cheated on her. We decided to help her get on her feet, and she met her second husband then moved out. Why is this important? Because 4 months after I left, I found emails with nudes of this ex-roommate that my ex was forwarding to a secret email account I had no clue about. They'd been a lot more friendly than I had realised for over 4+ years. The ex-roommate who was currently living in our marital home was separate from her second husband because my ex didn't like him in the house. Granted, I didn't like him either because he was a sleazebag who was also cheating on her, but I digress. My ex even got friendly with his ex-wife, I was wife number 2, and a third person I didn't recognise, then found out my ex knocked up the roommate 2 months after being official. I didn't get to confront my ex or her with this, other than me writing an email and attaching the photos I now had. I had to do something else. So I reached out to my ex's girlfriend, who he has his first child with. He's made no effort to be in his kid's life, a source of fights for us here and there. And I tried a few times over the years reaching out to her and establishing a relationship between them. My mum has a bigger relationship with a kid she has no relation to than my piece of shit ex. I told her after I left him that he was making way more money at his job and she should file to have it looked at. She did and got it increased to $264 a month. Now, for the repo of the car. After I left, he decided to buy a brand new Chevy Equinox for over $32k. I have access to his Credit Karma account, so that's how I know. He works commission-based sales selling furniture, TVs and appliances. He doesn't bring home much. He actually opened a credit card through his work, bought $5k worth of stuff to furnish the house and then let it go to collections. He used my contact info and they called me trying to collect on it. The payments on the new car were about $634 a month. He made 2 payments then stopped. Now, we had bought a house together before I left, and he finally agreed to sell our marital home after getting behind on the payments and not doing what he needed to keep it. We had over 60% equity in the house. He decided to use his half of the sale to buy a smaller house outright instead of paying off his debt. His logic has always been, if I don't have a house payment, the other bills are affordable. Part of the reason he used to bully me into buying our previous house. Either way, I found out his new address, called the company that originated the loan, and updated them with his current information. So hopefully they'll be picking up the new car any day now. Oh, I started losing it in the middle. Who's fucking who? Everyone's fucking everyone. Where is this? Gotta be Florida or something, right? Sorry, you Florida people. Just throwing that out there. Wow. Paying 32k when you can barely afford a house, man. What, I just don't understand this logic. It's just so confusing. Oh, God. What is your opinions on that story? Who was fucking who? Let me know in the comments below. Now we're moving into nuclear revenge. Our first nuclear revenge story is from Dos Cinco Uno Pinko. Wife cheated, so I tricked her into publicly admitting to having the affair and herpes. Okay, so I'm the co-worker that encouraged him to post this. Unfortunately, your account has to be 7 days old to post here, so I gifted him an alt I made for a joke about a month ago. This story is about 12 years old. I told it to one of my co-workers yesterday, and he said I should share it to Reddit. Today, he again nudged me, so here we are having drinks before the 4-day weekend, and my writing is complete. So first time here, and hi y'all. Sorry if there are any typos, I'll include a TLDR at the end. In college, I met a woman who I thought was my one. We dated for about 2 years and had a big ass wedding after a 10-month engagement. Her family was pretty well to do in a small southern town. We were both continuing our educations and I was also working to support us. I was pursuing a master's in engineering while she was finishing her doctorate in anthropology. Over the summer an opportunity came up for her to make some extra money going as an aide on a religious studies trip to Jamaica. I didn't hesitate when she asked me about it. I mean, she was going to visit Jamaica and get paid for it. I saw no downside other than missing her being home for 6 weeks. Little did I know at the time, but she'd been fucking the professor. He'd hung out with us, smoked my weed, and drank my fucking beer. I considered him a friend. Who arranged the trip for a couple of months, and it was a getaway for them to bang all over the island. I, clueless and happy, went about the weeks while she was gone, taking extra shifts so I could match what she made in our account and surprise her. What a dipshit, right? One of the students from the trip actually seeked me out to clue me in. I didn't believe him until I started looking for evidence on my own. I broke down and checked her text while she was sleeping and nothing was there. There were a few VMs, so I decided to listen, and there it was. A message from the giant arsehole saying how exciting it was that I almost caught them. I opened up her laptop and hit the emails after that. It was piles and piles of shit, making fun of me for not knowing, fucking in our bed and laughing about it. There was so much and I was so heartbroken. Still too hurt to take any action, I was lost. I had no idea what to do, so I sat on it for a couple of weeks and acted as normally as I could. I noticed everything now. I felt so stupid for not seeing it before. So many signs, one stuck out in particular. I noticed that our stash of homemade weed lube, if you've never tried it, I highly recommend it a go. What the fuck? Was going down, even though we weren't having sex. It was obvious they were also using the fruits of my labour to get off more effectively. This really pissed me off, like unreasonably so. Hulk fucking mad. It finally all hit me. I was a goddamn joke to these arseholes, and they were using the lube I made and fucking in my bed. I didn't hurt anymore, I just wanted to make them hurt. So, while she was studying at the library, I made a new batch of lube. I put enough weed in it for it to smell like normal, but I also added some poison ivy from our backyard to the mixture. And after refilling the spray bottle we used for application, I waited. A few days ago and I'm working extra so I can be out of the house more, and bam, bait taken. That night after she goes to sleep, my plan goes into action. I sneak her phone away and delete my contact while replacing his phone number and his contact as mine. I go to bed but can't sleep because it feels like I'm 5 and tomorrow is Christmas. Dawn arrives and she's in the shower. I get a text. I'm super itchy, are you okay? Now Lord, now is my time. Look, I thought it cleared up, but I guess I had a flare up. I'm sorry, but I've got herpes and I guess you do now too. I heard this bitch squeak in the shower. I'm covering my mouth, damn near losing it. I went on to tell her that it was time to end things now. A new semester was about to start, and I kind of had a little crush on another TA. I wanted her mad, this woman that never got told no growing up. I never had to deal with rejection, let alone from a balding dude in his 50s with herpes. When she got out the shower, it was obvious she'd been crying, but I could see the anger in her eyes. I could see how uncomfortable she was squirming at the table, drinking coffee and mulling the situation over. Another little nudge is what she needed. The reply she got to her pages and pages of anger and sadness was, "Thanks for the good times, but can you keep a secret between us? I don't want to ruin my chances with anyone else." She's flushed with anger now, just seething. She gathered her keys and headed out the door without even saying goodbye. I knew where she was going. I booted up her laptop and set it to reformat, deleting her dissertation and any notes pertaining to it before following her to campus. I parked a few lots over and rush over to the office where I find her screaming at him for giving her herpes. There's lots of people there. Professors, aides, students, other faculty. I'm dying. He's beyond embarrassed and confused as fuck. She's ugly crying in front of her peers. I'm in heaven. I didn't even care that people were going to think I had herpes too. The fallout was apocalyptic in their department. He lost his job due to code of conduct at the university. We got divorced the following year. State law was we had to be separated for 1 full year before being granted a divorce. I got to keep most of the assets, primarily savings and not a ton, but I worked for it. She never finished her doctorate and went on to be a perpetually pregnant housewife that sells Herbalife on Facebook, and he teaches high school now. It took a few years for it all to unfold, but watching it was glorious. And then he leaves the recipe for his weed lube below. Well, I'll put a link in the description if you want to see that. I'm not showing it here because that'd be me done. Wow, though. Soon as he started talking about lube, I thought, I know where this is going. I thought it was going to be chilies or something like that at first, but poison ivy. Extreme, man. One of my favourite things about these cheating stories is always like how they react after once they've been caught. But she's now selling Herbalife on Facebook. Damn, that is a downfall that nobody wants. What do you guys make of that story? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway guys, thank you for being here today. If you did enjoy today's content, there's a couple more videos on your screen right now. Click them and it will tell YouTube that you enjoy the content, and then tell some others too. Thank you for being here. You are truly, truly appreciated. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Goodbye.